Alrighty, we are all set up and we are recording. So, welcome everybody to tonight's call. Tashina is going to lead our call, as well as a few other individuals, in talking about Silver Retreat and the experience that they had there. Hopefully, we can find some value from that. And remember to, if you have any questions or comments or anything that you want to add, either put them in the chat. We'll go back and answer them later, or we'll try to answer them as we can. So Tashina, I'm going to go ahead and turn the call over to you and have at it.
Alrighty. So I did invite a couple other individuals from Silver Retreat, so hopefully they will join shortly. I sent them a message that we were getting started. So just from an overall perspective, like Silver Retreat was just super amazing. Everyone needs to get there. When you get there, there's just so much pampering, and you just feel like all the work that you have done was without a doubt worth it. Like everything was just so much worth it. And so while there, you get the opportunity to go to the farm. It's all expenses paid, your flight, your hotel, everything, and then your breakfast at the hotel. Usually at the farm there was lunch, so at least 2 meals paid for per day. So it's just totally awesome. And then at the farm, we got to hear Mary and Jared Turner speak, and then we had an opening party, which was like a gala. And then we had a closing party, which had karaoke, and we had training sessions from Diamonds. We heard from Tia Mari. We heard from lots of individuals. So a couple of the ones that were really impactful for me was Heather Brock's talk. So I wanted to share some of the notes that I got from that. So she was actually asked to speak about essential rewards because she has a very high essential rewards rate. So what she talked about, and it was interesting when she started because she said she didn't realize that she necessarily had a good essential rewards rate because she doesn't compare herself to other people. But what she started out talking about was that our thoughts shape our business and that abundance is a mindset. So we need to ask ourselves, do we have limiting ideas about money? Did we get our ideas about money from people who had limiting beliefs? Like we heard things growing up like money doesn't grow on trees, we don't have enough money, etc. If we have limiting ideas about money, it's going to limit the way that we share. We are going to assume that people can't afford it if we ourselves have limiting beliefs about money. We're going to tell ourselves they don't have a lot of money, they don't have enough, and it's going to limit how we share essential rewards because we personally are scared. She says that $300 a month should be the minimum. Like everyone on your team should be striving to have $300 a month because we are trying to do replacement buying. For a family that is 2 to 4 people, generally they spend between $300 and $400 a month in groceries. They go shopping once a week, and so that's why we should be spending $300 a month. So the only thing that's not replaceable that there is an abundance of is time and loved ones. Everything else we have an abundance of money. And we're not communicating with our teams if we think we're limited in funds. We are limited actually in our conviction and sharing of the value. And then she was moving into the reasons why we get stuck. She said that doing the business is like a walkway in an airport. So when you have momentum, you get to walk a lot faster, but it's made of the same material as a trampoline. So every step that you have creates buoyancy. And if we get stuck, it's because we stopped. So if at any point in time, if you're stuck at a level, it's because you stopped doing the things that you need to do. If you keep going, it's going to be buoyant. But then when you stop, it's hard to get back started again. So we have to have a higher perceived view of our product, and we need to transmit that to our team. Because having a high perceived product leads to dreaming, We talk about the products like they are life-giving. And she actually mentioned, like, to us, she was like, was there any time that, like, when you started out, and I know this is the case for me, like a lot of us, we put a bunch of stuff on our wish list, right? Like you write the wish list, or she said, like, some people, you'll put thousands of dollars into your cart, and then right before you'll like delete because you're like, you can only afford so much. Like, that's what we want all of our members to be doing. We want to be transmitting that to our team. And then so these lists leads to loyal customers leads to business builders. So that is the key. Like, we should be stressing ER over anything. And then we teach our teams the rising star bonus. It is the stability. And she was mentioning how she was not an overnight success. She taught class after class after class, and she said that she's probably had more no-shows than anyone in that room has had actual classes. And remember that the rising star bonus is essential rewards 100 across. So your goal is to get 7 people across, all on essential rewards, and spending 100 PV. And you need to teach the rising star bonus before you teach silver. And the rising star team bonus structure is setting up for Royal Crown. And you teach the rising star before you even teach what silver is. Essential rewards should be the most praised behavior in your team. We're not selling kits, we're helping people become members. She said she never uses the terminology as soda kit. She creates members. And remember, it's a community. And she mentioned that we want to Beyonce that, like, we want to do things with flair. It's a verb. So every educational opportunity is ER focused. We always are talking about our promotions. Any meeting that we're having, it's got to come up. We're always talking about ER. We're sharing the promos. We're doing our unboxings. We're sharing the stuff that we got for free. We're planting the seeds constantly. You need to make Essential Rewards elite club without ostracizing others. Energy creates excitement. And you should make sure you have enough members to continue that activity. You would never want to create a group unless your team can create posts every day and hitch your wagon to a group that already has energy. We need to value the product first. Your personal brand is more of a prospecting tool. So it is important in your group. It sets the tone and energy. But if your team and business hinges on your personal brand, it's based on opinions, and it can be lost. So you need for it to be based on your product. Get them to love the product and love it without you. And she said, because, you know, sometimes people go crazy, like they drop off or whatever. So if you start to have problems within people, then they'll just stop doing the business. But if they love the products, they're going to do the business regardless. So their personal love of the product should take over. And she said you can advocate authority, but you cannot advocate responsibility. Cast vision whenever you are speaking. So when you're talking to people, when you hit the next rank, when you hit executive, you want to be vulnerable, but not like crazy. Just make sure you're expressing your emotions to people. Say things like, we have all been the mom that has driven our kids to school and left their shoes off. Use the feel, felt, found method. So we never contradict people, but we'll say, I know exactly how you feel. I felt the same way. Here's what I found out. And those were basically the notes that I had from her. Have any questions?
So really quickly, Tashina, can you go back to and talk about a bit about the fast start and why she emphasized so much encouraging teaching fast start before silver?
Because the rising star bonus, you mean?
Yes, I'm sorry.
because the Rising Star bonus hinges on making sure that you have 7 people on Essential Rewards. So you're definitely creating a culture of people that Essential Rewards is important for, and you are setting yourself up for Royal Crown Diamond.
So in essence, was she suggesting that when you create a new member and you get them signed up on ER, even from where you want to place them in your organization, is it that it would make more sense to continue to put people on your front line until you have 7 people who are on ER, and then encourage that behavior for them to grow?
So basically, she was saying that you need to teach the Rising Star as a culture. So it's not a matter of putting 7 people on your front line instead of necessarily stacking people, because Rising Star has to do with your circles of influence. So if you start with some of the just training, I know like they mention it in Vital 180 and one of the other, I can't remember the name of it, but I was looking at it recently, but it's like a 12-page shorter one. You make sure that you're working different circles in order to get those 7 people. So what some people do is they only stay working with their friends and family and maybe workmate or something like that. And that's why they end up only having 2 legs. But what you want to do is immediately go reach out to all 7 circles, and you are doing Rising Star, and then teach everyone else to go out to 7 different circles, and they're doing Rising Star. So it's not necessarily a matter of do this instead of that. It is just the culture and the way that you go.
Okay. And then, I mean, just as you're explaining that, one of the things that stuck out to me and something to keep in mind, I mean, for new person who's just getting started, and obviously for the most part, those who are on the call this evening probably are pursuing Young Living, probably as some sort of business or trying to supplement some kind of income. Rising Star bonus adds to that check pretty hefty. Is if you, I think it's with 3 people, you get 1 share, right? So that's around an extra $50 on your check each month. And then as you have more people hit Rising Star, you can get up to, is it 3 shares?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think the total that when you have all of it across, you get up to 6 shares.
Okay.
So it could go up to about $300 extra.
So just something to think about. I mean, that's pretty rewarding for creating a culture of people who are on Essential Rewards ordering at least 100 PV each month, because just by doing that, you're adding around an extra $300 to your check every single month. So just something to think about.
Any other questions?
Yeah, what was her name again, Tashina? Whose notes are you talking about that gave the speech?
Heather Brock.
Thank you.
Yeah, so she gave a really good one at convention as well. So, and I enjoyed this one from her.
Okay. So really quickly, do you want to talk about what it took to get to the Silver Retreat? Because I know for those who would like to qualify to go to Silver Retreat in 2019, what is that going to take?
So specifically, if you want to qualify for Silver Retreat in 2019, you have to hit silver by February of 2019, and you need to maintain it for 3 months. That's how you'll get invited to Silver Retreat. And so Silver in general is making sure that you have 2 teams. They have to be at 4,000, and then you have to have your overall OGV of 10,000, and then you would have to have outside of those 2 legs that are each at 4,000, you would have to have another additional 1,000.
Okay. So Carrie asked, any favorite points? I guess she was asking for Julie to iterate any favorite points.
1 second.
Actually, I had kind of the same question as Anthony. I didn't think it was very clear, the answer. Should you keep building a front line until you get 7 good legs that are going to be on ER? Because, I mean, we
You should, the
easily have,
answer is
10, 15,
there,
20 front line.
yeah, so the answer is Help 5 and Rising Star at the same time. Like there is no either or. So you have to make sure what we tend to do is we tend to stay in one general area of people that we're talking to. And we need to break the mindset of one general area of people that we're talking to. So it makes sense for people to, if they're in the same church or if they're in the same city or if they're in their same family that all lives 30 minutes, it makes sense to stack those underneath each other. It doesn't really make sense to put them on your front line just so that you have 7. They should definitely be working together. What we need to break the mindset of is only working in one area and making sure we're talking to everybody at our place of worship or church. We're talking to people at work, or if we're a stay-at-home mom, we're talking to people in our homeschool group. We're talking to people, we're talking to our neighbors. We just have to, we want to, as soon as possible, get those 7 people on our front line, but that doesn't mean that we're going to split up groups in order to do that. So it's Help 5 and Rising Star at the same time. Does that clarify it a little bit?
Yeah, that helps. That made more sense that time. I guess I was more in the groove with what even though you explained basically the same thing. I'm getting it slowly but surely here.
All right, so my friend Stephanie was able to join. Hi, Stephanie. Thanks for joining us. So Stephanie, I know you don't have anything like specific that you want to share, like with notes about a specific topic, but did you just want to share like what was your favorite part? Well, first of all, just tell us who you are, where you're from, what rank you are, just a little bit. What's your personality, and then maybe like what you really appreciate about Silver Retreat. Oh, you're muted, honey. I can't hear you. Let me mute myself.
So I'm curious. She's actually unmuted, but sometimes you have to give the app permission to use your microphone if it's your first time using Zoom.
I'm transferring locations right quick, guys.
Okay, Stephanie, I
Anthony was like, when it's not in it, you have to hit something. I think it's a call-in device for your audio.
We got echo.
Okay. Is that better? Hang on. Sorry about that. Okay. Can you hear me now?
So I still hear an echo. Is there two devices that are near each other right now?
Yeah, I'm trying to eliminate one.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Okay. Is that better?
That is better.
All right. Sorry, guys, for technical difficulty. I very much appreciate you inviting me. As she was saying, I was just going to give you a really quick introduction. I am a gold leader in Young Living, and I went to the Silver Retreat and met Tashina there. And I live in Florida. I have a house full of girls. So when I started using Young Living, it was kind of all about being toxin free and what I could do to keep my children healthier in a natural way. So that's kind of my basic story. And as far as the Silver Retreat, I would just say I think I was really touched by how incredibly generous, as I'm sure we've all been, that Young Living is. They give so much back to us as leaders in their group and for their company. And they also do all the way across the world, which was one of the things I had told her I was very passionate about, is their foundation. And I don't know if she's already spoken about that. Did you, Tashina? Okay. There's some really good numbers to think about of the ways that they impact the world. For example, in the year 2017, there were 250,000 people helped across the world who were affected either by poverty, by human trafficking, by disease, just simply hunger, and some of the things that are devastating. And I just think that it's a really neat thing to be a part of a company that contributes and gives back like that. So I don't know if you guys are already participating, but that's one of the things that impressed me a lot, was to make sure I was rounding up all my orders. Sometimes it's just pennies, but every little bit helps. And they gave us some diagrams, if you remember that, Tashina, that showed how much it can help. I thought that was really neat. But it only takes $1 for them to test and treat a child with malaria. There have been 60 girls that have gone through their SHINE school. That means they were rescued from human trafficking. And I really appreciate that this company does so much to help with that. And I appreciate being able to be a drop in the bucket, towards that vital part of their company. And the other thing that impressed me a lot was that there are people, and I don't know how you guys are all doing your business, if you're growing it via classes. Can you guys just, how many of you are growing your business by classes? Okay. All right. We have done that also. But I was very impressed by a few people that actually have grown their business via social media. And it just kind of was eye-opening to me. I don't know if you felt that way, Tashina, but there were a few people that spoke about that. And I really appreciated some of what they said. For example, about how important it is to just be real on social media, to really share your story, to get a little bit out of your comfort zone. Using a lot of what we know to be, you can untag yourself if you're tagged in something that you don't want to be tagged in, and about kind of the idea of what you put out there being very important for how your business is going to grow or not grow. So I thought those were some good tips. Using some of the Instagram and Facebook newer things that they have on there, like their stories, is really helpful. Remembering always to be compliant, and just, reaching out to people, being genuine. Those are things that kind of stuck with me.
So just to add, I think one of the real clear things was that I know some people feel like maybe they don't get social media, or maybe that's just not the way that they necessarily intend to grow. But I know that the two diamonds that went fast on social media, so fast, in fact, that when I was watching the replay, I didn't realize that they had said that that was their silver retreat.
Yes, I caught that.
That's
too.
how fast they went. They were there at silver retreat. So Stephanie is amazing to me because she was there as a gold, but they were there at their silver retreat as diamonds.
At the diamond, yeah.
With like 30 other silvers on their team going together. That's how fast they grew. And one of the things that stood out to me, they were just saying, remember that social media is a must and you need to create presence. And I know for me, I'm active on social media. It is not the main way that I grow, but I know for a fact that it creates presence for me. Just this week, I got a sign up. An individual messaged me and he said, hello, my wife has been hearing about the oils at work. She has a birthday coming up. Is there a way you can get me Stress Away in fees? Because she's been raving about that. And I was like, what are you doing today? Let's meet up. And I explained to him that it would be cheaper to get a kit. It'd be a great gift for his wife. And he bought the kit. I've only seen that person 2 times in life, twice. So I know he thought of me because he sees me online. I'm the oil girl in his mind. When I see other people, they always say something like, which I mentioned when we had our rally, oh, there goes the girl traveling all over the place for GM. Or they say, oh, there goes the oil girl. And they mention something to me about oils without me even saying it, because in their mind, they see me all the time sharing about oils. So even if social media, you don't think that's ever going to be your thing or your way, you still have to create a presence, because remember, people need 7 to 12 exposures. And if you do a live class, that could be 1 exposure if they watch that whole live for them. And so it's just one other way for you to get exposure. So I would definitely agree with you, Stephanie.
I think so too. It's very important. And just remembering, whatever you put out there, obviously you've got to stay compliant. I think that is so important in the time that we live in. I know that was also stressed at different times during the retreat, that, years ago, that wasn't a big problem, but it's not that it's a problem for us, but it is something that we need to be conscious of. We need to be thinking of what we're putting out there. So always talk about supporting body systems and things like that, not about illness.
So if I can really quickly ask a question, when it comes to social media, because I think sometimes what maybe holds people back is, Tashina, you talked about creating a presence, but a lot of people, sometimes they just don't know what to do to draw people to even look at their pages. I know that it was mentioned in the chat that a lot of people do have personal pages. So is it advantageous maybe for an individual to create a public page or a public profile page that they use exclusively for that purpose? And I think Julie touched on it a couple of weeks ago. What does that look like when a person is actually using social media to help grow their business? Are they reaching out to individuals specifically? Are they interacting with people that have commented on their pages, because usually I know one trend that I've noticed is, if you post certain things in social media about your family, the things that are authentic, like it gets a lot more interaction. And then as soon as you post something about Young Living, there's like 2 likes, no comments. So what is the good way to, I guess, kind of balance the two?
So there's 2 camps, honestly. I mean, there's the Christy Rose camp, which she has a specific exclusive Instagram page. She spends a lot of time on it. She uses a specific app to make sure that her pictures look a certain way. But she does still on her business page, there's pictures of her babies, there's pictures of all types of stuff on that. And she has an exclusive Instagram account. And then there's the Lindsay Teague Moreno. Lindsay Teague Moreno says you are your brand. You should not have anything separate. So for me personally, with the amount of time that I personally can spend on Instagram and Facebook, I have a Facebook page, which is nothing more than a consolidated business forum. That's all it is. And I invite people to like that page and things of that nature, but it's only there because that's where my events are going to come from. It's part of my brand, but I don't think that I can handle 2 Instagram accounts, and I don't think that I can spend a lot of time on a separate business page. So like I said, Lindsay T. Moreno goes, and that's the camp that fits with my lifestyle. I am not a blogger. I'm not staying at home where I can spend a lot of time managing 2 separate things, because I agree with you. People have to see your real life. That is what attracts them to people. Like the person that I sold a kit to is a man who is a business person, works for Hilton. I believe that he reached out to me because he sees me as another business person. He sees me as a person that you see at a networking event that has an automotive career. I don't think that if he only saw oily posts all day long, he would have felt connected to me and wanted to reach out to me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I think that you have to kind of make it fit what fits your lifestyle, like she has said. I personally was much more into Facebook long before I was actually into oils. And so I kind of have a larger Facebook thing going on. We've done a lot of our business with in-person classes, actually, and then a good bit through Facebook classes. But I really only recently, since the retreat, been really challenged to do a little bit more with Instagram. And I do have it separate, but my plan is to do a lot more with the business part that way. And I may one day, fall more into the camp of combining it. But I also think that I didn't want to make like drastic changes, being that I already had the accounts set up. And so I'm kind of keeping them like they are and growing them like they are and making it work for my lifestyle. So I do believe, like she said, there's 2 camps, and it's whichever works best for you.
Stephanie, can you talk just a little bit about, because one of the reasons why I specifically wanted you on here is because you have the opposite personality as me. And I was hoping that, my friend Kelly, she didn't make it. I'm not sure what happened to her. She said she marked as going and she was a blue. So I wanted to make sure, we filter things with our mindset as much as we try to relate to other people. Mm-hmm. Whatever I hear is going to be filtered through my mindset. And so I specifically wanted you on here as a yellow. So I already, before you hopped on, I answered the question, what does it take to hit silver? So from your perspective as a yellow, like how did you even fall into the business? And then what did it take for you to hit silver? And like, what did it take for you to move past to gold?
Okay. Well, for me, being a yellow, it's all about loving people and relationships. And that's exactly how I got started in it. I told you how I started using oils. It was only for my personal family to have, improve our wellness and decrease our toxins in our home. And then I started having other people that I cared about around me, including my daughter that had gotten married, that you met at the retreat, who wanted to get her own kit. And so from that point, she's like, Mama, let's teach some classes. Well, I'm an educator. That's my trade. And so I was very, very comfortable to fit into that. And I love helping people, another yellow trait. I think it fits very well with the business side of Young Living. And I also think that people see that genuinely coming through. So yellows maybe have an advantage in that way. If people are looking for the genuine people that care about them to help them, that's going to probably come through pretty strongly with the yellow. You know, we may take a little longer at times to meet some goals because we care about the people more than the goals. But maybe for the long haul, that's good. As far as how did I get to gold, it actually really had to do with my team. And they came along with me, and I was really close to gold the month that I hit it. And they kind of decided that they just wanted to kind of work and help me. I did not tell them how close I was, but the word got out through my daughter. And so when they knew, because we have those relationships that are strong, they wanted to help me because I've been helping them. And I didn't expect it. I was just going to let it just happen naturally. And instead they rallied and helped. And so I think in a way that yellow personality, which I happen to have a lot of on my team, it also ended up helping me reach the goal. So. Hope that helps a little bit.
I have a question. Hi. So I'm yellow green. I'm probably equally yellow green. My question is, how did you get other yellows on your team? Because my team is full of blue reds.
That's a really good question. And what's funny is when we have our leader meetings, which we do a monthly leader meeting, that's where all the yellows are, is the leaders. I'm not sure that I can answer how we got them on our team. I firmly believe that God is building our team. So that would be my answer, that he put them there. But as far as how are they leaders and how is our team so heavily yellow, it's kind of amazing to me too, to be honest with you. Now we have a little bit sprinkled about of some red, some blue, you know, all the colors obviously. And I don't think anyone's a completely true, you know, they've all got a little mixture there. So that probably helps. You can appeal to their red by giving them a goal, etc., things like that. Let's have some fun with the blues, the details for the green, as you guys know. But I really just think that the relationship part has been very big for our team. And when one of the people on our team is needing something, we've had a couple of different trials that have happened. One of our leaders just recently lost her husband. And what happened is we all rallied around. We were right there with her and trying to help her, be there for her to support her. Another one's going through a divorce, and we're trying to help her and be there for her. So there's some really strong relationships being built, and I feel like it's going to be there for the long haul. So I'm thankful for it, and I'm not sure that's a very clear answer. It's a very yellow answer, though.
So, but Stephanie, how about you expound on that for us when you say relationships, because we say that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what are the things do? Do you have Zoom calls on your team? You mentioned a monthly business builder. Like, how long has that been in existence? Like, what are you doing when you say someone is going through a divorce or someone? What does that mean? That how many people do you even have on your team, and does that mean all 900 people on your team know about that? Like, so talk about how you started those relationships, how you build that, and how you communicate generally with your team.
Okay. Our monthly meetings have been going on for close to 2 years now. And those are just for the leaders, but they're open to anyone on our team. We have a very open policy as far as that goes. You don't have to be committed to being a leader or anything. You can just come and check it out. And we've had people do that. We also have a monthly local DIY class that we host every month. And that's really where a lot of our success has happened and a lot of the relationships have been built, because obviously the relationships do extend beyond just the leader part of our team. They do go beyond that. And I feel like whenever you come together that frequently, some of us, if we're on the leader team, are seeing each other twice a month, if not at least once a month, face-to-face opportunities. And then in addition to that, we also do online classes like I was referring to earlier. We do some Facebook classes. We have done a little bit of Zoom and a little bit of Marco Polo, if y'all are familiar with that. And then we just have, in general, we have a Facebook group that is just for our downline. I was referring to that too, but we have a lot of interaction in that group. We recently, in fact, had to kind of go to approved post because so many new people were getting on board, and it was kind of growing quickly, and we wanted to make sure it stayed compliant. And so we switched it to being approved post only, but there is a lot of interaction there. So it's face-to-face, it's online, it's like you were talking about when I first jumped on here, there are people that are already connected before oils, either because they're related to each other, families, or through their churches or through work. And I think there were already some pretty strong relationships coming into it. So we've just kind of built from there, if that helps.
So just a question then to clarify. So is most of your team local? Like if you look at the makeup of your team, like how far do people drive to come to your monthly in person?
I would say within an hour radius is what people would drive to come. We have had people come to our rallies though that were 4 and 5 hours away.
Okay.
And we do have, our team does go all the way across, the United States, all the way over to the, West Coast. We're in Florida, if I didn't say that earlier, but we do go all the way across as well as up and down the Eastern Seaboard. So we're pretty spread out, but a larger percentage is in like Florida and Georgia.
So we're here, a couple of us are here in Michigan, but we actually have people on the call from Ecuador, Nova Scotia. I'm not sure where the 361 is. Andrea, I don't remember where you live. So how would you suggest bringing people together and creating that type of culture when you actually have people international and maybe only 50% of your team is local?
I think the Zoom calls is probably a really good way to go. Are you already doing these regularly, Tashina? Are most of the people on here part of your team?
This is a larger team, actually.
Okay. I think that Zoom calls is something about, it's the next best thing to being face to face, because you can really see more about the person's, facial gestures and all. You kind of get to know them a little bit more, their voice, all of those things, their personality comes through. So if you're not able to meet face to face, I think this would be the next best way to grow. If you wanted to do, if you're not already, just doing some regular Zoom calls in lieu of that leader meeting that we do locally, that might be a place that would be able to grow those that are not local to you.
So Julie, so basically Julie would be, she has probably the same size team that you have. And so she's actually asking of you, how do you get all your leaders together once a month and what do you cover and talk about?
Okay. We have it's a regularly scheduled ahead of time. So they know, the first Monday of every month that we're going to meet. That helps to be consistent with it. And then we have covered everything from, some of our early meetings, like 2 years ago, we're literally doing like virtual office tours because this kind of happened quick for all of us. And there was people coming to leader meetings that really didn't know a lot about their virtual office. So we would do that. We would do some vision casting, helping them to start to catch the idea of what this could mean for them. Explaining, sharing our stories. My daughter and I, when I say our, that's who I'm referring to, because we do a lot of it together. And we've done, some actually working through like how do you actually earn your commissions, making sure they actually understand the actual commissions and where it comes from, how it works. We've done, if we're about to have an event, we work together to put that on. Like when it's time for a rally, the meetings with preceding rallies, we work towards those. We try to plan, set some goals, in the very beginning, we would actually come together and ask each of the leaders there, so what is your goal? You know, what goals did you meet from last month, and what is your goal for the upcoming month? And really kind of help them. I think that whole concept of, you know, we love helping people with the oils, well, helping them with the business is another huge thing that, just like it says, we rise by lifting others. And so when we help them meet their goals, you know, indirectly, we also meet goals. So that's kind of what we've been doing, how we've been focusing on in the leader meetings.
Do you do anything else? Because I know I sat with your daughter. We rode over to the farm. Is there anything else you do to reach out to your team? Are you using Project Broadcast? Do you send postcards? Like, because obviously, like, how many people do you have on your team? What size is your team right now?
I would have to look. It's I actually don't have the exact number right now. I think we're around probably approaching the 600 mark right now.
Okay.
Something like that. I honestly feel like I met gold with a smaller team than is normally the case. And I think it might be because a large percentage are on ER. I think that's another key point to get your team on ER. But yes, we do send out postcards. And when we have a new person join, we send out like a welcome letter with some specials for them. And I have recently, within the last 3 months, I've started doing Project Broadcast. No one else on my team is currently doing it. I'm kind of being the guinea pig for that and to see how it works. And I have 2 of my leaders that are about to probably take that on also. So right now it's just me doing it. I feel like it has been a good investment. If you guys, is anybody else already doing Project Broadcast?
I'm not.
Okay.
Julie
Okay.
is.
Julie is. Okay. Okay, there you are. Okay, I'm seeing your response now, Julie. And I don't know if you agree or not, Julie, but I feel like it's worth it. It's a very small investment, you know, $10 to $20 per month, depending on what package you choose. And I really believe there's a little bit of a learning curve, so expect that at the beginning. Like, I think the very first month that I actually signed up to do Project Broadcast, which, by the way, it's a way of sending out a group text, basically, but you are the only one that gets a response. So you can send out to hundreds of people at one time, but you will be the only one to receive their responses. So it's really nice to not have to feel like you're constantly recreating and constantly reaching out, spending tons and tons of time reaching out. You can kind of combine those efforts, I guess, is the way to do it. They have campaigns that you can do. Some people have already come up with campaigns that you can utilize yourself. Let me read Julie's.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
yeah, there's a lot of bells and whistles, she was saying, and that's true. There's a lot you can do with it. I feel like I've just scratched the surface personally too, Julie, and I want to learn more about it. I've only done a couple of the, I'm doing what they call the tips. So every Tuesday, I send out tips to my whole team. And I have gotten some really good responses. I've actually had several people that were about to go inactive that have jumped back on board. And I feel like it was attributed to those tips coming out to them. So if you are in that camp, you guys, it can be personalized. Like, if you want to even just focus on, if you happen to have a large number that are about to go inactive, you can just send out text to those people. So you use your Oily tools to send yourself a report that says who is about to be inactive. And then that email, you download it. It's the easy way to put it into your Project Broadcast app. And then you're able to send that out as a group message.
Alrighty. So I did want to actually share right quick. One of the other things that they talked about was the GLC Cruise. And so I want to make sure that everyone knows how to see where that ranking is. And then I want to show everyone where there's information about the comp plan, including the Rising Star bonus. And then we're going to be close to wrapping up. So let me share my screen right quick. So this, just for anyone who is about to hit silver. Once you hit silver, you'll be tracking where you are on the GLC Cruise here. And the important thing is they had an actual, the comp individual, and then the individual that helped create the current criteria for GLC. They were talking about how it's basically based on the Rising Star bonus. So again, the Rising Star bonus is something that came up over and over again. And over in our member resources, we have plenty of information about the comp plan. There's also a virtual office walkthrough there. So if you haven't gone through your YL Central training, then you definitely want to do that. Let's see. Okay, it's taking a little second to get here, but if you need more help on the Rising Star bonus, go onto the comp plan, open up the comp plan information and take a look at that, because it's all there in your virtual office, everything that you need. So they just changed the office, like it seemed like yesterday, so it's a little bit it's a little
purple.
bit yeah, it's purple, but it's just like it's not okay. Here we go. So here's the information on the Rising Star bonus. So study that forwards and backwards. Hope 5 plus the Rising Star bonus is how you move forward. So any last questions for Stephanie, and then we'll have to move into upcoming events.
I just had a quick question. It's Melissa from Nova Scotia. I'm a yellow as well, and I just wanted to see if you had any suggestions regarding what yellow's common struggles are. If you have any suggestions or things that you found really helpful to kind of conquer your yellow bad side, that would be great.
I would think maybe the only thing, or it's kind of hard to say, because yellows, you know, we can have hard time making making decisions. That's probably one. Giving myself a deadline to make the decisions is one of the things I've tried doing. Also, I kind of, I have a teeny tiny little bit of red. So I like to do, like, instead of delegating things, I like to do. And so I've learned better delegating skills. And the other thing is that I sometimes have helped other people even when it's hurt myself. And I've had to learn, you know, whenever, you know, when I get a new sign up for me personally, rather than, you know, if someone has introduced me, that person always gets that sign up without any, I mean, that's just the way I do it, you know. And I feel like that was also reinforced at the retreat. You always want to give credit to your people, because we wouldn't even know that person that's signing up without them. However, if you get a sign up that they're not connected to anyone else, you have to really think about placement for that person. And sometimes you have to make a decision that may not be the most popular decision. And because I'm a yellow, that's kind of hard, because you want everyone to know you love them and they love you. So that's probably one of the hardest parts of being a yellow, is sometimes having to make a decision, you know, that you know is not going to maybe be the favorite. And I've had to do that several times in my business. And I feel like God has honored that whenever I've, you know, prayed about it and still sought, you know, his wisdom for that. So.
Alrighty, with that, we're pretty close to wrapping up. We did start 5 minutes late, as a reminder, guys. So we got a little bit of time, but Stephanie, I greatly appreciate your consistency and commitment. We did have one individual that made it very clear that she was not sure if she was going to join. I invited 3 individuals. One person said she was coming, but was unable to make it. So I greatly appreciate the fact that you stuck with the commitment and came to help us out. And this will be on YouTube, so I'll send you the link after it's published tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And you can feel free to share it with your team as well. We're going to move into our team events. We're going to talk about that for the next 2 to 3 minutes. So if you'd like to jump up, you can feel free to.
Thank you. You guys have a great evening. Thanks
You
again.
too.
Mhm.
All right, so upcoming events for the team right now. The next one that I'm aware of is, well, we know we have the end of the month coming up, so everybody should be hustling, getting their one-on-ones and follow-ups in through the end of the month. And then we have Shannon Hudson's event on the 2nd and 3rd, the first weekend of November. And I believe there still may be a couple of tickets. So as usual, just talk to your upline executive or Silver that you usually work with to see if there's any tickets available. After that, for the Metro Detroit area on Tuesday, the first Tuesday of November, I think it's the 6th, we're going to have a make and take. So everyone is invited to that in the Metro Detroit area so we can get together, continue to build the team. And then after that, we have the Fall Oily Fest, which will have Shannon Hudson there as well. So if for whatever reason you can't get to the 2nd and 3rd, that actually conflicts with the Canadian convention. So Shannon is speaking at the Fall Oily Fest for a lot of her team members that can't make her normal event. And Anthony and myself are also speaking there. It's ran by a Gold, so there's going to be a lot of high quality people there. I know they're doing some make and take perfume stuff there. And then our next monthly spa party for the Metro Detroit area is going to be December 2nd. So the first Sunday of December, just because we want to make sure that we're promoting these bigger events and everybody is getting to see all of the leaders on the team. So, oh, and I do have on Tuesday, have an online ninja class in Spanish as well. So for any of the Spanish speakers on the team, you can feel free to join that. And I think that's all the things I can think of. I don't know, Dane and Anthony, if I missed anything or if there are any online events from anyone else that they wanted to promote.
No, I think you pretty much covered it.
All righty. Thank you, guys. That's all I have for tonight.
Have a good night.